Hello again. Today I'm going to quickly show you a quick stitch progression just with our basic stitches, and this is just a quick how-to on sort of the main stitches that you'll use for most of your projects. Obviously some projects the better you get. Some projects are going to be a little bit more difficult. I do find sometimes YouTubing or Googling the different types of stitches will help with those stitches, but I'm also if I can get my words out today, I'm also here if anyone needs any help with any particular stitches. Leave a comment below and I will do my best to answer that for you. So the first stitch we're going to do, really kind of the first sort of progression and a very important stitch, and the best thing about this stitch is that it is literally the same both American and Aussie and England stitches. So it's really cool that terms. It's like the one that's actually the same across all three, which is fantastic. And that's just basically your slip stitch. So slip stitch, all you want to do is go into your stitch, yarn over, through, but this time instead of yarning over and going through these two stitches, all you're going to do is bring this hook, bring that stitch through the other stitch. And when you're done with this stitch, so I'll just quickly show you that again. See how you've got that braided look, but this time it's kind of more on the front. If you're doing this stitch with rows, you really want to make sure that you do this stitch a little bit I guess looser if you've got more to do. If it's sort of the finishing touch to a project, then you can sort of just leave it, it's fine. But I find if you then have to go back into those stitches later on, if you've done them too tight, it'll be way too hard to do that. So that is a slip stitch. I use those to finish off my work as well. So slip stitch, I've already shown you guys a double crochet, so I'll do that quickly now. Double crochet. Next one we have is a half treble, I think it's called in English terms, or a half double in American terms, and that's yarn over first, hook through, yarn over, and then instead of going through two and then the next two, this is the one in between, so you're going through all three, and that's called a half. So again, yarn over, through, yarn over, through, and then through the three stitches on your loop, and that's called a half treble or a half double. Next one is our treble or double. This time we're going to go over again. We're going to go through the stitch, yarn over, back through. Those three are back on there, but this time we're going to go through two and then go through another two. So you can see these, we're getting a nice elevation there. So I'm going to do another one of those, which I do have a video of this as well if you need me to go slower, or you need to pause or whatever. I do have another video of that as well. Okay, so that's a treble. Next we have a double treble or just a treble. So double treble is your English or Australian term, and your treble is American term. This time we're going to go over twice. We're going to go into that stitch, through, and this time we're going through first two, then second two, oops, then third two, like that. And really with this principle you could keep going. I have done a project once where they literally had I guess it was like a triple one of those. So it was 1, 2, 3, and then you went through the stitch, and then we'd do 1, 2, 3, 4. So really, like that same principle, you could keep going. So while I have you today, we're also going to learn how to increase and decrease your stitches. So I'm just going to take out the ones I've just done. Oh, I'm a bit caught. Sometimes you get a bit stuck. There we go. Undo those. Alright. So as you can see, I've already got some treble stitches there, or double crochet for your American friends. And now I'm going to decrease this at the end of the row. Oh, sorry, what should we do first? Yeah, let's decrease. Alright, so let's just get to the end of the row. Actually, I think I've already, hang on, what have I done there? Oh, you know what, we'll go this way. Ugh, what have I done? What have I done? There we go. It's a bad day to do this today. I'm really struggling. Oh dear. Alright, let's just start that off. Let's do it. Let's do an increase first. Alright, so an increase is quite simple. All you're doing is you're adding a stitch to another stitch. Simple. So for this one, I'm going to do an increase. I'm going to go into the next stitch, and then to do an increase, I'm simply just going to go back into that same stitch and do the same stitch again. So really easy. That's not a hard one to learn. Very easy. And when you're working in a round, which I will do a video on that as well, you do really need to know how to increase and decrease. But that's basically an increase. It's very, very simple, very easy. Just basically 2 stitches in the one, and you know, depending on how much you need to increase, you might then have 2 stitches in the next one, and so forth. A decrease, you are basically putting, you're basically taking 2 stitches into one. So for using a treble stitch, the way we do that is we yarn over, go through, yarn over. We're going to go through the first 2 stitches, but instead of then going through the next 2 stitches, we're going to yarn over. We're going to go through the next stitch, yarn over, through, and then we're going to go through those first 2 again, and then we're actually going to go through the last 3. And you can see there we've made 2 into 1. So again, this is how I do it anyway. Let me know if you do it differently, but this is how I do a decrease. So first 2, yarn over, in the next stitch, yarn over, back through, and then through the last 3. So there's 2 decreases there. For your, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to, hang on, we'll do a half, treble down to a single stitch or a double stitch if you're using Australian terms, and I'll show you how to do a decrease with your single stitch, because the increase is exactly the same as before. An increase would simply be putting a second double crochet into that stitch, but for a decrease, very similar. What we would do, we would go through, yarn over, so we've got 2 on there. This time though, we're going to go through the next stitch, yarn over, back through, and then yarn over and through the 3 on the hook. So again, oops, sorry, we go through, yarn over, through, next stitch, yarn over and through, yarn over and through the 3, and that's 2 decreases there. So not very hard. Give it a practice. Look at that, it's a bit of a mess there, but you can see there's the 2 decreases made earlier. There's an increase of the double crochet and the 2 increases there. Sorry, decreases. So give it a go, you know, have a play around, get a swatch like this one and just practice your stitches. Pretty easy. Again, if you have trouble, leave a comment below. I will try and help you as best I can. And leave a comment if there are any other stitches that you would like to know how to do. There are plenty other ones out there. There's some really weird looking stitches out there, but these are really your basic ones that you're going to use pretty much every day while crocheting. And yeah, also, you know, there's variations on these to make different textures and things like that, but as long as you know these basics, you are going to be able to figure out the other ones. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Please like and subscribe to these videos. I'm just starting out, so I really appreciate any support I get, and please do leave any messages below. I do read them and I will comment on them as well as soon as possible. Alright guys, have an awesome day. Bye!